It's 28 days to election 2020. Hello and welcome to the Midday News on your election headquarters.
We'll be burying 5 at a go. We're going to bury more. We only want to elect the public. The COVID is real, and therefore protect yourself. Observe the national protocol measures to protect yourself, protect your family.
COVID still exists. Please make sure you observe safety protocols to stay alive. This bulletin is coming to you live from Joy 99.7 FM in Accra. Digital address GA0993341. It's also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. Affiliates across the country, including ATL FM, Cape Coast, Radio Max Takrade, and around the world at myjoyonline.com. Coming up, government directs security agencies to start clamp down on persons and institutions flouting COVID-19 protocols as cases begin to rise.
This morning we will reiterate the call to the security agencies and to the managers, particularly of enclosed places, to ensure that compliance with the wearing of masks at least is enforced.
More as details of a survey shows use of face masks has dropped to as low as 5% among Ghanaians in some parts of Accra. Also, minority in parliament raises red flags over $100 million contracts between government and Huawei Technologies for the Accra Metropolitan Area ICT Enhanced Traffic Management Project. They describe it as grand deception.
A very big deception. This facility came before Parliament on the 22nd day of December, approved by Parliament on that day.
We'll bring you details shortly. And in sports,
and we'll tell you the 7 late call-ups made by Black Stars coach CK Akono for varying reasons as Ghana prepares to take on Sudan.
Also in this package, only fairness from the police will prevent us from using personal bodyguards. That's the response from politicians being warned against moving to polling stations with bodyguards on election day.
All it means is that their results went through Noguchi or the other labs, and the results are in. Oh. So it is not a day they declare the results that they were.
Apologies for that. Meanwhile, presidential candidates accuse police of failing to provide them with security less than a month to the polls.
We don't even have police protection. Despite the fact that we've applied.
We wrote to the IGP 3 times, and all along he said, we'll get back to you. 6 months now.
And later we bring you all the fun and thrills on the Western Escape with you, our loyal listeners.
Let me see your shouting. It's a beautiful place.
This is my first experience there, so I love it so much.
You want to stay for details on the exciting weekend getaway? This is the Midday News with me, Bernice Abu-Baidoo Lansah. Thanks for your company. The details now. Security agencies have been told to clamp down on persons and institutions flouting COVID-19 safety protocols. Cases have been rising sharply in the last few weeks, sending the country's case count to 1,156 from a low of 150 last month. Markets and workplaces have been identified as high-risk areas as many refuse to wear the face masks there. We have the numbers for you shortly, but first listen to President Akufo-Addo express concern about non-adherence to safety protocols.
The total number of deaths now stands at 320, a great majority of them still with underlying illnesses such as hypertension, diabetes, chronic liver disease, and asthma. The number of daily infections is on the rise, from an average of 25 new cases per day then to an average of 130 new cases per day in the course of the last 2 weeks. In Greater Accra, with the exception of 2 districts, all districts have reported cases. In contrast, we've only seen a cluster of cases in the other regions from only a handful of districts in other regions. These figures obviously give cause for concern.
President Akufo-Addo there. Well, this morning, Ghana's COVID-19 management team has been addressing issues forcing the surge. First, Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boakye.
The rise in the COVID cases is largely from Greater Accra. The imported cases, the second report is helping, is part of the number. The focal outbreak in some nursing training in Brekum, which accounted for about 83, and actually plus 19. subsequently. So over nearly 100 labs came from Brown. The 14, even I would say even the 15 regions are currently contained because the Bono issue is currently under control and there's no further spread. But there's no apparent increase in hospitalization at all. Non-adherence to protocol is a major factor in the situation we are finding ourselves now. And then
Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boakye, the Information Minister, Kojo Nkrumah, is meanwhile asking security agencies to begin a clampdown on persons flouting directives.
The number of new cases being recorded is literally doubled, getting to the end of October. And if you compare that with the mask-wearing data, so last night the President explained that though those who are studying the makeup of the virus are quite clear that the genetic makeup of the virus has not changed. The observation is that this spike at the end of October, which the data shows is in the Greater Accra region, or is mostly concentrated in the Greater Accra region, is grossly as a result of non-compliance with the preventive protocol of wearing the mask. And that is why His Excellency the President is reiterating that admonition to the people of Ghana that do well to wear the masks when you are leaving home. This morning we will reiterate a call to the security agencies and to the managers, particularly of enclosed places, to ensure that compliance with the wearing of masks at least is enforced. All of us as citizens have a responsibility to ensure that the other parts of it, where, washing our hands, using of the hand sanitizer, we do it. But particular call goes out to the security agencies and the operators of enclosed places to ensure that the wearing of masks is.
Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah, the Bismarck Kweku Asante, has been at this news conference from where we got all those details and joins us with more. So, Kweku, we understand the Ghana Health Service has been sharing details of a survey conducted which shows the number of people wearing masks is going down. Tell us more.
Well, so Bernice, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boakye, has been sharing some very staggering numbers. And actually, they conducted a survey, the Ghana Health Service conducted a survey in some markets, in some petrol stations, and in some urban places where people are expected to be wearing their masks. And the numbers are not encouraging at all. He's been telling us that 44% of people used to wear masks some few months ago. Now the numbers have moved to less than 10%. And also, the people who do not wear masks at all have moved from 18% to now 72%, almost 75% of people are not wearing masks. We can take a listen to Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boakye.
We did Abobroshi, Makola, Kaneshi, Malata, Sema Community 1, and Ashama were the areas we did that. We also did some shopping malls in Accra Mall, ANC Mall, Westfields Mall, St. Junction Mall. We had also done assessment in the streets and lorry parks across the country in the area that have been mentioned, and also have followed people on some structural routes to see what's really happening as people move. The next slide shows that the number of, we have number wearing masks, not wearing masks at all, wearing masks correctly, not wearing masks correctly, and wearing masks correctly. You can see that those wearing masks correctly moved from 44% in survey 3, when we hit the highest rate, to almost 10%, and in some areas it was as low as 5%. But the average was 10%, but there were some significant areas that we had about 5% wearing of masks. We are also seeing that people who were not wearing masks at all had moved all the way to 72% of people are not wearing masks at all. And then those who were wearing masks but not wearing them correctly had declined, which means that's a little improvement, that people have learned how to wear the mask. But that was still just about, if you have only 72% not wearing, that says you are still dealing with a very small proportion of the population appropriately wearing masks.
Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boakye, giving us details of a survey conducted by the Health Service. But Kweku, government has also been responding to cases being recorded in workplace. Now, they attribute this to the surge in our numbers.
Yes, according to Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah, and actually he was backed by the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaji, the idea that because of political activities that are going on around the country, maybe a part of the reason why the cases are going forward is false, and that the data suggests that more and more cases are being recorded in workplaces and they are not managing it well. They cited examples of some companies and some factories that they say, as and when they record cases, they just go and do the test in some private facilities and they just ask these people to go home and take care of themselves, and then when they recover, they come back. According to the information minister, what is supposed to be done is that the government contact tracing team must be alerted so that the contact tracing around these people will be done. But the crux of the issue is that these numbers have been going up by virtue of these workplaces and closed spaces, and not because of political activities going on currently.
That's Bismarck Kweku Asante Michael, giving us details of a news conference held by Ghana's COVID-19 management team. Clearly, as the president said, we have let our guard down. But how serious is the situation becoming, which may once again necessitate a change in attitude towards the virus? Head of our health desk, Fred Smith, joins us with figures.
Well, indeed, if you check the Ghana Health Service data provided on its website, it shows that we saw steady decline of something over 3,500 daily active cases in July, and that decline continued until the 6th of October, when our active case count for that day stood at 303. It hovered around this, and sometime in the middle of October, we started seeing increases on a daily basis, and that's what has brought us to this level. Today we have 1,156 cases.
Head of our health desk, Fred Smith, there with details. Meanwhile, head of disease surveillance department of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Asiedu Bekwe, has revealed majority of the cases in Greater Accra region were recorded in Ayawaso West, but clarified that is because most testing centers in the region are located in that district.
And Accra, that has 29 districts, actually has all of the districts reporting increasing cases. But there's an emphasis on a district called Ayawaso West, and we need to explain what is happening in Ayawaso West. So if you look at the data for the past, let's say, 2 months, Ayawaso West has reported 600 cases. But it's not that the cases are actually resident in Ayawaso West. What is happening is that we have 5 main labs that are situated in Ayawaso West. So these are the Nubusi Lab, Yahoo Medical Laboratory, MDS Lancet, CSR Laboratory, and Let-In Laboratory. These labs actually do the test there, and so actually areas that the test is recorded. So it's not place of residence of the cases. So I think that we need to make that clarity that Ayawaso is not an epicenter, but the center for testing. So if you look at the data, it says that clearly.
You had the head of disease surveillance department of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Asiedu Bekwe. Away from COVID-19, the minority in Parliament is raising red flags over a $100 million contract between government and Huawei Technologies for the Accra Metropolitan Area ICT Enhanced Traffic Management Project. The National Security Minister laid the agreement before Parliament for approval earlier this week, and it was being considered by the Defence and Interior Committee. But former Minister for Roads and Highways, Inus Afuseni, told a media briefing in Parliament the request is grand deception.
A very big deception. This facility, ladies and gentlemen, came before Parliament on the 22nd day of December 2019. As we speak to you, the contractor has executed part of the project and raised interim payment case totaling $16 million waiting to be paid. And the project was introduced in Parliament by the Minister for Roads and Highways. Today we are being invited to approve of the same facility that has already been approved and which is standing in our logo for the same project. Not to deceive Ghanaians, they've changed the title of the project. This project now is being brought to the House by the Minister for National Security. And if even we allow them to go ahead, you can rest assured that what they are going to do will be a candidate for judgment death.
Let's get some insight into this project. Parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo has some details for us. Hello, Joseph, if you can hear me. First of all, tell us what this project is about. Well, it appears we've lost Joseph there, but Ranking Member on Parliament's Roads and Transport Committee, Kwame Agbodza, has been speaking on this matter.
They claim PPA has terminated the contract. That is laughable. PPA doesn't terminate contracts. In fact, there's nothing in PPA functions that tell you that they terminate. If you provide them with information and it doesn't meet the criteria at which you want to procure goods and services, they just reject it. They don't give you the. So it is only the ministry. And guess what? Interestingly, the Road and Highways Ministry is no longer in the picture. The National Security Minister is the one in charge of this. And we are saying, like he said, what has the synchronization of traffic in Accra got to do with national security? Indeed, when they came to Parliament, they told us they were going to build a control room. And that control room, national security, NTTD, and everybody have access to that control room. So there's no question as to whether national security can have access to that control room. We have no interest in the tough war at Flagstaff House. But as Parliament, we must be sure that when we are approving loans, we are doing the right thing.
You heard the Ranking Member on Parliament's Roads and Transport Committee, Kwame Agbodza. Let's now speak to Parliamentary Correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo. Joseph, first of all, tell us what this project is really about.
So this is a project to establish what they call more intelligent traffic lights and create a situation where there would be CCTV cameras as well in various parts of the Accra metropolis. And then there will be a control room to allow for the monitoring of the various traffic lights, so that then as and when there needs to be a redesignation to ensure better flow of traffic, then that can be done. But then as well, the CCTV bit would allow for security agencies to take advantage and monitor and deal with people who jump traffic lights and also help enhance general security in the country. And it's expected that about 11,000 plus such CCTV cameras will be installed across the various places in the metropolis and beyond.
Joseph, so let's talk about Mr. Inuse's claims that Parliament has approved a similar or a same contract with Beijing Everywhere and Traffic Technologies, and he says this happened last year. Can you confirm that?
That's correct. Let me quote from a letter that the Clerk of Parliament wrote to the Minister for Finance, which is actually dated the 31st of December 2018. And in that letter that the Clerk of Parliament actually wrote to the Minister, he confirmed that Parliament had, the days earlier, approved the $100 million contract in order to allow for Beijing Everywhere Traffic and Lightning Technology Company Limited to actually execute the procurement, installation, and commissioning of the Accra Metropolitan Area Intelligence Traffic Management Project. So yes, back in 2018, Parliament did give that approval.
All right, Joseph, so that contract was approved. Now, this current one we are talking about has also been approved. So what's the minority's concern now?
Yes, so this latest one, in fact, the earlier one was brought in by the Minister for Roads and Highways. And then this latest one, which was brought in last week and approved on Saturday when the House went on its break, is actually a new one with Huawei Technologies, which was actually brought in by the Minister for National Security. The explanation coming from the government side is that because the earlier company, Beijing Everywhere Company, had run into problems, including allegedly some of their directors being involved in some illegal activities in China, government has decided to terminate the contract with them and allow for this new company to actually take over. But the minority disputes this. They say there is no such evidence. They think that someone at Flagstaff House is pulling the strings and taking the contract away from Everywhere and giving to Huawei, which they think will cost the nation going forward, including possible cases of judgment debts.
Parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, they're giving some details over about that $100 million contract between government and Huawei Technologies for the Accra Metropolitan Area ICT Enhanced Traffic Management Project. This is your election headquarters, and some politicians contesting the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections are challenging the Ghana Police Service to be fair in its operations before, during, and after the December polls if it wants them to desist from moving about with personal bodyguards. The police served notice that it will not tolerate the presence of bodyguards at polling stations, saying their activities often lead to altercations which disrupt the voting process. Listen to Director of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service, DSP Shilabeye Bachman, speaking to Gifty Andro-Apia on the Probe on the Joy News channel.
There is no recognition whatsoever for political party security units under our laws. The Political Parties Act does not create such an institution or unit. And the Electoral Commission has put in place structures that will allow candidates to have their agents at the polling stations to observe in their steps. And these are the people we expect to see on the day. We have sufficient plans to police the ballot, and so we do not expect them. So we believe that our political party official will not claim to be carrying security personnel along, and such people will not go to the polling station.
While speaking on the same show, Ranking Member on Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee, James Agalga, said this will only be possible if the police maintains an impartial posture in the discharge of its mandate.
We are law-abiding. All we are saying is that the police should do their work with some level of professionalism.
Okay. That
is all we are asking for. But in the event that that is not done, we are simply saying we will not allow.
But Mr. Agalga, when comments like these go up, don't you think that's what actually incites people? Do them feel like they need to defend themselves because
we must call a state people who perpetrated violence and let off the hook.
Okay.
And so you see, once beaten, twice shy. We're saying that don't want to have a repetition of Ayawaso West. The police should be allowed to decide their mandate professionally. If they do that, nobody is going to have any reason to take the law.
Okay.
You heard the Ranking Member on Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee, James Agalga, speaking to Gifty Andro-Apia on the Probe on the Joy News channel. Now, some presidential candidates have increased calls for police protection for presidential hopefuls. This comes on the back of assurances by government to deploy some 200 police personnel to guard members of parliament until the end of the year. It follows the killing of Infantiman MP Eko Kwanzaa-Hayford and reports of some legislators being attacked by armed robbers during their campaigns. But the presidential candidates say their lives are even more at risk and require police protection. Listen to presidential candidate for the All People's Congress, Hassan Ayariga, and Jacob Osei-Yeboah, who is running mate of the independent candidate Alfred Walker, when they spoke earlier on Election Brief.
We don't even have police protection. Despite the fact that we've applied, how can we move? And so you see a lot of say, why is it that you've not gone to the regions? Why is it that you're not going to? We don't have the police protection yet. And now we have vigilantism bill. Are we supposed to use vigilantes?
I remember in 2012, I was attacked twice because we also carry money. Don't forget, if I have a convoy of more than 50 people and I'm even going to pay for their hotel bills, their per diem every day, I should have enough money with me to be able to do that. So if anybody should approach us with weapons, definitely we are going to stop and give out everything. And how sure are we that the person will even leave us or even spare our lives? So you cannot say we should run through these campaigns and not give us security to be able to do our campaigns. We wrote to the IGP 3 times, and all along he says, we'll get back to you. We'll get back. 6 months now, even before we were acclaimed flag bearers, we wrote to them because we were running to become flag bearer. After we became flag bearer, we wrote to them. After the EC cleared us, we wrote to them. So what do you want us to do now? I don't think it's fair.
You heard the presidential candidate for the All People's Congress, Hassan Ayariga. Earlier, you heard Jacob Osei-Yeboah, who is running mate of the independent candidate, Alfred Walker. This is the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Bernice Abu-Baidoo Lansah. Still to come, we bring you all the fun and thrills on the Western Escape with some of you, our loyal listeners.
Empempino, enipa bebre wo ope. Se omubeka kwhye obi ase na omaka kwosua adwuma. Betre apprenticeship. Now so sika odibetu ni trinsa ni honti. Na wabon sansa. John Dramani Mahama say 2020 aba ye beto no 7 December. Si atoma na obeye omampania. Obetu trinsa ma free. Na wo kwa adwuma nso a obepe kakra ma na ho ahenha o transportation no akoni abamu. Wo sua adwuma ni wi a obemma wakade a won so wo de be hye wadwuma ase. Chese ukosua etirebo a obenya wo hair dryer. Sade pama, usoyi machine, any nyuma akika ni nyina. We aya sampa. Enti tuaba pa Fama John Dramani Mahama ene ne NDC esan sensa no dwuma ehun hia.
Life as we know it has changed. Everything's rearranged and disrupted. But one thing remains constant. Excellence must be celebrated, even in a disruptive era. So, to usher in the 31st Marketing Performance Awards, the CIMG will be celebrating a marketing week from the 9th to the 13th of November. Then on Saturday, the 14th of November at 7 p.m., all roads lead to the Labadi Beach Hotel for the CIMG Marketing Performance Awards to honor companies and individuals who have excelled within the marketing arena in 2019. Theme: Marketing in a Disruptive Era. The awards event will be streamed live on Facebook and YouTube. For corporate table reservations, call 0244-585-208 or 0208-177-752. All the COVID-19 protocols will be strictly observed. CIMG. Marketing means business. CIMG. Working for Ghana.
Ghanaians, the stakes are high for our country this December. Don't stay home.
Remember, this election is about your future. Which of the candidates will you trust with managing our economy better? Which leader can give us free SHS and enhance the education of our children? Who can you trust to protect us during dark periods such as COVID-19? Who has the competence to protect our economy, build roads and dams?
Do you remember the dark periods of Doomsaw, Create, Loot and Share Brigade?
This December, remember we cannot afford the risk. Let's vote for Nana Akufo-Addo and the NPP to protect our progress.
Thanks for staying on the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Hans has sports for us.
Now, due to travel and medical reasons, Black Stars head coach Siki Akon has made 7 additions to his squad ahead of Ghana's doubleheader against Sudan. There is more in the following report.
Back Andy Yadom, who just returned from an injury suffered last month. He is, however, yet to play 90 minutes with the championship side since. Majid Ashimeru has been handed a late call-up and will be returning to the national team for the first time after his debut in May 2017. The former Wafa midfielder has been one of Ghana's top performers in European top-flight football, having won the league and Austrian Cup with Red Bull Salzburg last season. Joseph Atamalawe of Kayserispor will also be joining the Black Star squad. The versatile midfielder was part of the last squad that faced Mali and Qatar in the friendlies, but failed to play a game. Efri Akwa, who plies his trade in Turkey, would also return to the team for the first time since the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations. Former under-20 captain Clifford Abuaje has received his maiden call-up to the senior national team and will be in line to make his debut for the Black Stars against Sudan. The list sees the inclusion of 2 Ghana Premier League players, with Kwejo Marco of Ashanti Gold and Christopher Nete of Asante Kotoko. The Black Stars will begin campaign in Accra on Monday, November 9th, ahead of their doubleheader against Sudan.
Oreko Ampov with our report there on the Black Stars. The late call-ups made by head coach Siki Akon. That's your sport.
Thank you, Hans. And on Arrival Live, the Ministry of Health will henceforth play an active leading role in all road safety education in Ghana. This follows the inclusion of road safety issues in Ghana's revised health policy launched by President Akufo-Addo last week. Over 2,000 people are killed annually on our roads, while about 1.6% of Ghana's annual GDP is used in resolving incidents of road traffic accidents, such as medical expenses of victims and loss of productive hours. Arrival Live is brought to you by the National Road Safety Authority with support from Toyota Ghana Logistics Movers and the Joy News Drive Safe campaign. And as part of our 25th anniversary celebrations, we took some of you, our loyal listeners, on a getaway to the Western region, not only to have fun, but to support the tourism industry as it works and getting back on its feet amidst COVID-19. Maps has details.
Finally, we have arrived at the Maha Beach Resort. Very excited. The weather is a bit
bit chilled. It's drizzling, starting to drizzle, but we're still excited. That won't dampen our spirits because we're celebrating 25 years of media excellence. Guess what we did? We bussed down a few of our loyal listeners here to the Western region to experience, some nice weekend getaway.
Totally love everything. There was a few hitches, but everything went totally fine than we expected.
On the way, we are on the way to Zimbabwe, and this place is from where you started to this point, it's a man-made channel. As I said to you, from here to the village is a natural wetland, and here there's no land around this wetland.
It was a beautiful experience. It's a die-for experience to be at Inzulenzu.
Oh, but you don't sound excited or to scream. I want you to scream.
Let me see your shouting.
It's been fun.
Indeed, it was fun. So make a date with us on our next trip. And your superstation has a lot of details and a lot of exciting trips for you. That's how we end this edition of the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Bernice Abu-Baidoo Lansah. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. We really appreciate your company. Please remember to stay safe. Don't go away yet. Do stay with us at 1. We've got business news for you. And right after this, Dr. Otabel has Living Word. Today he's teaching on choices.